Illinois Democrats held their Governor's Day at the Illinois State Fair Wednesday, it was Republicans' turn yesterday, where they rallied together and despite rain delaying things, they got a start and shared their thoughts. We'll hear some of that here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Of course, next week is the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Center Square will be on the ground, so we'll have live coverage all throughout. And be sure to subscribe to the newsletter at thecentersquare.com and get the latest out of Illinois. But also subscribe to America's Talking Network here on YouTube to stay up to date. So Thursday was Governor's Day. There was a bit of a rain delay, but Republican chair for the state of Illinois, Kathy Salvi, she took the stage and shared her thoughts about where we're at in the state of Illinois as of right now.
We in Illinois are one big hurt. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter whether they vote or not. They just haven't made the connection. It's the people that they vote for that make it one big hurt. But the three issues we will continue to communicate door to door, in the grocery store line, wherever we go, is Republicans will bring a stop to the crime in our unsafe neighborhoods. Republicans will attack the cost of living in this inflation that's gone to unprecedented levels. And also, sadly to say, we have learned how to export the culture of corruption to other states, and that's going to end once we have Republican control. We are a republic by the people, for the people, and of the people. And this is the message we will champion. So whether it's lower taxes, restoring free speech, parental's right. Who likes the government telling you how to raise your child and threatening to take that child away from you? School choice, safe neighborhoods, reliable and affordable energy, a free market economy, more freedom, and how about our southern border? Securing our southern border. These are the principles which will win over the votes to win in November, from President Trump and Vance all the way down ticket.
So again, Salvi talking about some of the things Republicans are concerned about, but she also highlighted the challenges to Illinois. And again, this is Thursday, a day after Democrats took to the stage at the Illinois State Fair and laid out all of their policy initiatives they say are for working people. But Republicans countered, saying there's a lot of challenges in Illinois that Democrats don't seem to be worried about.
Do you realize that Illinois is among the top 2 or 3 states in out-migration? Since 2020, hundreds of thousands of Illinoisans have sought refuge, I want to say, gone across our state border because they simply can't afford it here anymore. This is unsustainable, and it's exactly why we have so many fine Republicans running, and we've got to stop, and we will stop the Democrat stranglehold in Springfield. And what happens to crisis? Do you think the Democrats are responding and listening? No. It's really shocking. They're applauding themselves in Chicago in advance of their convention. And by the way, think about that convention. They're about to nominate somebody who didn't even get one single vote. What about democracy? You know, in a lot of countries, that would be called a coup. But do you hear anything about that? Nothing, nada, crickets. Well, that's something that we could communicate. Anger is going to drive us Republicans, a lot of them, so are frustrated. But hope will drive the majority of people to come on board because we offer solutions. And that's the takeaway from here today.
So, Salvi, again, the Republican chair, some final thoughts here. She talked about the Democrat policies that she says are hurting Illinois taxpayers.
So, what do the Democrats stand for? Carjackings, violent flash mobs, rampant shoplifting and looting with no punishment. In fact, they punish the victim more than they do the person who perpetrated the crime. Large property taxes. All the mistakes in Springfield are being saddled on our poor small businesses and residents of this state, and that has got to end. Violent shootings, anti-business taxation, excessive regulation. Well, I don't want to be too much of a Debbie Downer. Sorry, you guys who have the name Debbie, but do I have to say anything more about the dysfunction that exists in Springfield and in Illinois? So we're ready for the type of governance that we need, not only in Illinois, but certainly in America.
So Salvi started off, then you had other Republican leaders there. House Minority Leader Tony McCombie took the stage and reacted to Democrats who say they're all about fighting for democracy.
Democrats have been working for years to try to convince the people of Illinois and our nation that the Republican Party does not believe in democracy. But yet, Democrats want non-citizens and felons, justice-impacted individuals to vote. Illinois Democrats are the ones who disenfranchise voters by drawing the worst partisan political map in the nation. A map that was drawn to promise one-party control for another decade. But we are not going to let that happen because Republicans are not afraid to work. We embrace the hard races, and we are certainly not afraid of the Democrats who don't know how to win by changing the rules in the middle of the game. You can clap at that. That's all right. For nearly 5 decades, the Illinois Democrats have held the reins. And where has it gotten us? I have a question. Are we better off? Are we better off under Democrat rule in Illinois? I would argue that some of the most damaging policies have come to Illinois since January of 2021. We are not dealing with a Democrat Party of 1992. We are dealing with a party who wants to destroy small business, hurt our most vulnerable, and make families feel that they need to be reliant on government for everything.
So there's a clear separation here of what the Democrats had to say Wednesday and what Republicans have to say as well on Thursday. I talked briefly with McCombie off stage and got her to respond to Speaker Welch, who on Wednesday said they have the great 78. That's 78 Democrats in the Illinois House versus 40 Republicans in the superminority in the Illinois House. And Welch saying they want more in 24. What's McCombie's reaction as the House Republican leader?
Well, I mean, the people will speak in November, that's for sure. I don't think there's anybody that really wants that. Maybe the speaker does, but I don't think there's any organization, any business, any family that doesn't want to have more balance in the General Assembly, and that's not with more Democrats, that's with some more Republicans. So we have a strong lineup of candidates, so not only are we going to hold our 40, but we are going to flip some seats. So we'll see. We'll see who's right at November.
But what would that mean for taxpayers who could see even more Democrats come next year if more Democrats are elected to the Illinois House?
Well, I think probably he's going to be able to pass a budget for round one. I mean, this cycle he wasn't able to pass the budget with 78 Democrats on one vote or two votes. It took him to break the rules and do it 3 times. So, maybe if that was the case, it would be even worse. That was a bad budget. His folks knew that. I mean, you had, there's 78 and you can't even get to 60. I mean, that's a problem. So I don't know what if he wants 5 more progressive that can, be tax and spend Democrats. And I know that's what Illinoisans do not want. And that's certainly in the suburbs. They don't want that. They're already having high cost issues right now, inflation, high property tax, high groceries, high gas. They don't want that either.
McCombie also reacted to the lines of policy that Democrats are talking about with like abortion, for instance, and she really hammered against the idea, and it's now law, that you no longer have parental rights of notification of an abortion of a minor child. So that as well is something that I think Republicans are highlighting as extreme. But I got her also to react to Democrats are saying that Republicans are, quote, weird. What word would she have in response to that?
Just one? Do I get just one? They're just out of touch. They're out of touch.
So, weird, out of touch, kind of interesting to hear some of this. Back to the stage, you had Senate Minority Leader John Curran address the crowd, and he talked about what Democrats have delivered to taxpayers.
Next week, the Democratic Party bosses are going to descend on Chicago. They're going to rally around their appointed candidate. To promote his party, Governor Pritzker has been traveling the country, bragging about all the radical progressive policies Democrats have, quote, delivered to Illinois. We know all too well what Governor Pritzker and his allies have delivered to the land of Lincoln. Democrats have delivered catch-and-release policies that prioritize violent criminals over law-abiding citizens and crime victims. Democrats delivered $1 billion in tax increases to pay for the migrant crisis they created at the border, and Governor Pritzker delivered to Illinois. Democrats delivered hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars to companies with ties to the Chinese Communist Party while forcing Illinois businesses to pay more. Democrats delivered the nation's third highest unemployment rate, second highest property taxes, and the title of the most corrupt state in the nation. Democrats have delivered unending overreach into our schools, homes, businesses, and places of worship. The question is, what really has Democrats delivered to actually help you? What I can tell you is that the Republicans in the Illinois Senate are fighting every day to deliver for you, your families, and your communities.
But again, Republicans in the super minority in both chambers. And we'll see what kinds of gains they could possibly make in November. But clearly, Illinois has a Democrat supermajority in both chambers and Democrats controlling all statewide constitutional offices. Their special speaker yesterday at the state fair for Republicans was former acting attorney general Matthew Whitaker under the Trump campaign, under the Trump administration. And he shared some thoughts about really who needs to be brought in to vote for Republicans.
It is voting, it is turning out, it is suggesting that there is a better path and a better way. But you know what? There are so many people of our fellow citizens that have already made up their mind. They have already told themselves that they're either voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, radical left-wing ideologues, or like many of you, all of us, we're already voting for Donald Trump, aren't we? But there are people, there are persuadable folks, our neighbors, our friends, our family, that we just need to approach and just ask them a fundamental question. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Do the policies of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris work for you and your family? Does the explosion of illegal immigration through our southern border make our communities safer and more secure? Does inflation make our economy work for ordinary Americans? Of course not.
So, obviously, the message to the party faithful in the Republican circle is get out there, find those independents, and bring them in. All right, it is Illinois in Focus Daily. We, on Thursday, looked at all of what Democrats had to say, and then today we looked at what Republicans had to say yesterday. We'll be on the ground at the Democratic National Convention next week to bring you the very latest on what's going on there in Chicago. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily.